When I first started playing XCOM 2, the game was just kicking my ass. I was trying to take everything I had learned from XCOM Enemy Unknown and XCOM Enemy Within and apply that to get some traction going. And instead, I found myself really struggling on mission after mission. It took a little time, but I finally realized that the game was literally tricking me into attacking the wrong targets, and as a result, I was essentially walking into a trap.
It's a trap!
So today we're going to cover 3 examples of specific enemies that I learned how to deal with more effectively, and then I'll share how that combines into that one secret that had the biggest impact in helping me turn the corner with XCOM 2. And maybe, just maybe, it'll help you do the same. Let's start at the beginning of the game when we first meet sectoids, and it seems obvious that these things are by far the most dangerous enemy on the battlefield, and you need to take them out right now. That's exactly what I kept trying to do. And battle after battle, I'd spend that entire first turn on the sectoid, and even if I managed to kill it, then the alien's turn would head south fast when the officer would mark one of my soldiers and possibly follow that up with a shot. Then the trooper would be guaranteed to shoot at the marked soldier, and wham! You're looking at a weeks-long hospital stay if you're lucky, and needing a body bag if you're not. And the trap that I fell into was to keep trying to execute that strategy just a little better.
Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change.
I kept trying to find a way to either take out more enemies on the first turn, but didn't have the aim or the raw damage output to do it. And I would try other tricks, but all of it was just worse than useless. And I was seriously starting to wonder, did Firaxis just really ship a game that was 10 times harder than Enemy Unknown and I just couldn't crack it? And that's when I just took a step back and started challenging some of my assumptions. Since I had already tried everything that I thought should work, and in the process, my guys were holding up about as well as a snow cone in hell, then maybe it was time to try something else. So what if I did something that sounded really dumb, like not targeting the sectoid? But TapCat, you clearly intelligent but possibly delusional man, I hear you say. The sectoid can mind control one of your soldiers. It can raise dead enemies to become zombies. You have to kill it. Well, my friend, I thought exactly the same thing. But what if he did raise a zombie on his turn? I could just kill the sectoid then. And when I do, the zombie will also drop without me needing to take even one extra shot. So what do I care that he spent his turn raising the damn thing? And if it mind controls one of us, the remaining soldiers can focus fire on the sectoid, and again, it doesn't even matter that he did it. But let's say I can't kill him on that turn. Well, if I make sure to always have a flashbang grenade handy, then I can just use that. It breaks mind control, it kills any zombies he might have raised, hell, it even stops him from doing it again on the next turn. So what if I focus on the trooper and the officer? Because they're the ones who are going to do something that's irreversible. If they fire and hit one of the soldiers, I can't make that damage come off the board. I'm either going to lose someone temporarily in the hospital or permanently. But there's going to be a real cost to my campaign if I let it happen. So is the sectoid really the strongest enemy in the early game? Or is he really the most inconsequential as long as I know how to handle him? And after we had that moment of inspiration, I decided to try it out. Because what have I really got to lose when I'm already getting my teeth kicked in on the regular? So I did it, and honestly was kind of surprised because it worked. It worked. And it actually started to turn the tide for me. But as important as that was, sectoids aren't exactly the last thing you fight in XCOM 2. So let's move forward to a little later in the game and talk about another enemy that really tricked me for a while. The shield bearer is another enemy that can really make your sphincter clench up. If you don't kill him immediately, he's pretty much guaranteed to throw up a shield that doesn't just protect him, but all of your other enemies in the bargain. And you think, oh my God, now it's so much harder to kill everybody. I can't let him do that. I have to kill him first. And that's what I would do. But he'd usually be grouped with something like a stun lancer and a muton. And if I got him but left the muton and lancer alive, that just usually opened me up to a world of hurt. The muton might throw a plasma grenade that would send 2 of my squad to the hospital. Then the stun lancer would bend one of my guys over and ram that baton right up the old back door, make him squeal like a pig.
Come on, squeal, squeal.
So once again, it was time to take a step back and rethink what's really the priority here. As scary as it is to think about the shield bearer protecting everyone, that isn't necessarily a thing. If we kill most or all of his companions during the first turn of the encounter, then just how meaningful is that shield? And even if we kill him on the second turn, his shield goes away when he dies, so there's no functional difference between killing him on either turn. Just as we saw with the sectoid, you're better off taking out whichever of his companions are likely to deal more damage right from the jump. All right, one more example, and then we're going to bring it home with the concept that seriously blew my mind once it occurred to me. I'm going to keep this last example very short because I'm sure you're already seeing a common thread, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. The Archon is a very impressive enemy. It looks like a Greek god, cover doesn't protect you from their attacks, and they can either swoop in and deal a vicious beatdown with their staff, or soar majestically into the sky and activate blazing pinions so that half your squad will get hit with an explosion. But by this point in the game, even I figured out pretty quickly that this was someone who may look like Tarzan, but it hits like Jane. As long as you don't attack him at all on that first turn, he'll use blazing pinions, which is really nothing but a light show. You have your whole next turn to get out of the way of those explosions, so take all the time you want to kill the much more dangerous enemies that are usually with him. They are the urgent threat, and he's mostly just a distraction. What does all of this boil down to? What is that one thing that I was talking about that helped me turn the corner in the game? So get this. The Mimic Beacon is one of your most powerful pieces of equipment. I would argue it's like the most powerful thing in the game in a lot of ways to keep your squad safe. Sectoids, shield bearers, Archons, enemies of that type, they are the Mimic Beacons that the developers put in to lure you, to trick you into focusing on them instead of the enemies that matter. But we are not controlled by AI that can only attack whatever our fixed programming tells us to. We can be smarter and more perceptive than that. We can see past the surface and figure out what enemies really present the most urgent threat and prioritize targets accordingly. And once I learned that lesson, it was a huge step in getting over the hump in XCOM 2. Hopefully it is for you as well. That said, it was just one aspect of the game, and if you want to learn more about an equally critical piece, then you might want to check out the video on base building on the left side of your screen, or if you want to get more information about how to deal with specific enemies on the battlefield, then check out the playlist on the right. Either way,
Good luck, Commander.